Yes, you like potato, I like potato. You like tomato, I like tomato. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about something that is often misunderstood amongst people that aren't in academia. And I'm not saying that to be elitist or anything like that. I'm just saying it as like an informative type thing. So basically, when you're in academia, and I'm talking about higher education, colleges, and universities, if you go in as a faculty member, there are different levels of promotion that you can have. And so at most schools nowadays, there are two tracks. And some schools there's only one. I'll talk about that in a minute. But if you go to a large research university or even a large institution, there's going to be a research track and there's going to be a instructional track or educational track. So if you are on the research track, doesn't matter what field you're in, history, biology, political science, whatever it is, you come in and your first title is assistant professor. And if you make the first rounds of promotion, usually after about 3 years, then you get promoted to associate professor. And then your final promotion or terminal promotion is after usually about 5 years since you started. Sorry, the cat's in the way. And that would be full professor, which sometimes is just listed as professor in your title. So that's kind of the track. Once you become full professor, that's, like I said, a terminal promotion, and that's as far as you go in terms of titles. You can go a lot of other places. So the educational tracks generally involve something like a lecturer or an educator position. Most places use lecturer. So you come in as a lecturer, and then you get promoted to a senior lecturer after about 3 years as well. And then after about 5 years, you get promoted to a principal senior lecturer, and that is the terminal degree or title in that track. Some places don't use the word principal, they use a different term. Where I went, we use principal. Typically, you make it through the first rounds of promotion basically because it's a mentoring apprenticeship type thing, and so it's a place for you to kind of learn where your strengths and weaknesses are and your chances of getting promoted to the second level. If you make it past the second level, that's usually considered that you are a permanent person in the department. And then if you make it to the third level, it's, like I said, pretty much terminal, and you'd have to really do something horrible to get fired from your job because of your job. You can still leave and you can still find other employment, but the fact that they would actually terminate you and your position is much more rare because you've proven yourself through all of these different promotions and so forth. So I just wanted to let you know. And one of the reasons I bring this up is because I was on a lecturer track, and I had a lot of students that would say, "Hey, professor," or call me professor. And for me, it was like, I'm not a professor, because traditionally it was always thought that professor was kind of a higher level than lecturer. But nowadays it's not considered that as much. So I would first try to correct them and say, well, I'm not a professor, I'm a lecturer. But I figured out after a while it doesn't really matter. It's just they're trying to use a title, and I appreciate that because it shows respect. And I think that that's a good thing for people who've put in a lot of time getting to where they are, whether they're a lecturer or a assistant professor. So thank you very much. Now, just one aside, some universities and colleges do have a different system. I know I went to Georgia State University. That's where I was a faculty member. And we have community colleges that feed into our main campus. They're 2-year colleges. You can get an associate's degree there. If you want to get a bachelor's or further, then you have to go to a 4-year institution. But they also have faculty members. And They're primarily educational track, instructional track, but they do have titles of assistant professor, associate professor, and full professor. So the names can be a little confusing at times, but I just thought I'd put that out there because I'm the kind of person I always kind of like to know what's the lingo. I want to know what the ins and outs are. So just FYI in case you're interested. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.